ADHD Rewired, episode 550. Since 2014, this has been the podcast for ADHD adults who have really good intentions and a slightly wandering attention. I'm Eric Tivers. I'm a licensed clinical social worker by training and a coach by design. I'm your host, and I have ADHD. ADHD Rewired is more than just a podcast. You can learn about our coaching and accountability groups, our virtual coworking community, and more, all at ADHDrewired.com. We are wired for connection, and you are not alone. Learn more about our offerings, including our monthly live Q&As, get additional resources for every episode, including links to any resources we mention on today's show. You can support us on Patreon, sign up for our email newsletter, and more, all at ADHDrewired.com. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. Don't forget to hit subscribe or follow on your podcast app so you never miss an episode. We know that starting is the hardest part, so let's get started. Hey everyone. Today we are going to be talking about AI-powered support to help neurodivergent brains. Before we dive in though, I want to take a moment to say Happy Pride Month. And I want to invite you to join me and my friends from Shimmer for a neurodivergent Pride panel discussion on Friday, June 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can join us for free by going to ADHDrewired.com/Pride 2025. As a bisexual man and as someone who's part of this beautiful neurodivergent queer community, Pride isn't just a celebration. It's a protest. It's a refusal to be erased. And to all the trans folks out there living your truth, especially in this country where your rights are constantly under attack, I see you, I stand with you, and you belong here. And to all the allies who are speaking up, voting with intention, and pushing back against the wave of anti-LGBTQ plus legislation and rhetoric, thank you. We need you now more than ever. This month and every month, Pride is about visibility, resistance, and joy. It's about creating spaces where we don't just survive, but actually thrive without having to mask. And that's what we're trying to do here on this podcast, in our coaching groups, and in every conversation that says you are not alone, you are not broken, and you don't have to do any of this by yourself. And now is actually a great time to start thinking about pre-registering for our summer coaching groups, which start on July 24th. We have just 2 registration events planned, and you can save $200 when you sign up at our registration kickoff event on June 18th, and that will be here before you know it. More information about that at the break, or go now to coachingrewired.com and add your name to our coaching group interest list to start pre-registering, and it's at coachingrewired.com. Okay, if you caught our previous episode where we talked to Shannan Palma about ADHD, the conversation you're about to hear was recorded actually right after we recorded that interview, but don't worry, this is not like a part 2, so you don't need to go back to listen if you haven't heard that one yet. Of course you can if you want to. So let's dive into today's conversation with Shannan Palma on AI-powered design to support neurodivergent ADHD brains. Welcome back to another episode of ADHD Rewired. Today's guest is Dr. Shannan Palma, who, if you heard our previous episode, we talked all about ADHD and autism. We talked about our experiences of diagnosis. We talked a bit about burnout. We talked a little bit about the differences between burnout and dysregulation, autistic burnout versus just plain old burnout. We talked about neural processing and the differences between top-down and bottom-up sort of processing, about eye contact and all the social stuff, masking, and just that general relationship between ADHD and autism. And if you're wondering how I just summarized that, we can just thank Zoom AI. So let's dive in right now to talk about tech, because that's your company does tech and assistive technology for us. So tell us about your company and what it is that you do and kind of why you started it.
So I have 2 companies. One is a nonprofit and the other is a for-profit. So the nonprofit came first. We started the Autistic Self-Reliance Support Network after my late diagnosis, and I had a really bad diagnostic experience. And then came kind of, I thought that there was going to be resources. Like, I was also very uninformed because I thought that there were going to be resources once I had that formal piece of paper saying, yes, she's autistic. And what I said was, I just want a piece of paper so people know I'm not an asshole. Like, that's really all I wanted. I wanted the piece of paper so I could say, when I say I don't understand something, I mean I don't understand it. I have tried and I do not understand. Like, it's not a lack of effort. I have tried. I don't understand. So a lot of times that was the social stuff. And yeah, so I had my like non-asshole certificate, and I thought that there would be resources and I would like learn how to talk better and like all the things, and there was nothing. And as I delved into this, discovered there's over 6 million people in the US are autistic. It's like 1% of the global population. Over 5 million of those US autistic people are adults. There's no services. So that Autism Cares Act, like a couple $1 billion they give to that.
Yeah.
Caregivers and cure. That's what it's focused on, like genetic research to make sure that we stop being born, and then work with support, like helping families and support professionals who work with higher visible support needs people. But it's not focused on the autonomy of those, like increasing the autonomy of those higher visible support needs people. Like, and there's nothing for lower visible support needs. So you just occasionally crash and like move in with your mom. Like, that's the plan. So we started ASR, and we very quickly realized that if we wanted to fund it without prioritizing caregivers and cure, like if we wanted to fund it, we were going to have to get creative. And because we didn't want to charge people. We're a very low income population as a rule. 85% of autistic adults are or underemployed.
Yeah.
So we decided we were trying to think about ways to fund the work. And I was at this tech networky thing that my friend was putting on, and there was really good free food, which is kind of the way to get me to come to your networking event. There were like these little like mini sausage pizza things. They were really good. So I went to this thing. We had to do the introductory thing where everybody goes in a circle and says like a cool icebreaker. And in this case, it was all about AI and like what AI could do. And at the time I was teaching I was like designing K through 12 computer science curriculum for the needs and interests of girls with a wonderful nonprofit, Her Academy. Like, shout out to them. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I'm working with the middle schoolers right now. And autism was 100% my like latest special interest because I had been recently diagnosed. I wrote something like 30,000 words in the first like 2 months after diagnosis, like reflecting.
Wow. That's like a short book.
It was a lot. Yeah, actually. And then like, as they were going around, I was like, the technology that would help people like me exists. It's just never been deployed by us. And they got to me and I said, we should make apps.
We should make apps.
Apps. We're going to make apps. That's what we're going to do. And then I went and I talked to my business partner and long-term friend. We've been friends for 30 years. She's also late diagnosed. Her daughter was diagnosed when she was like 3. And she was like, okay, yeah, let's make apps. How do we do that? And so we sent out some surveys and like just started talking because we were like, does anybody else think we should have apps? Like, do autistic people want apps? Do you think what we think the problems are? Do they think these are what the problems are? Yeah, we had really good early like input that said that people wanted, like, were interested in what we were talking about, which was like, support for multi-step tasks, support for decision-making. Another one was like emotional regulation, like tracker, or, like how do we could, like, what if we could do these? So people are very interested. And so we took the idea to give back Hack Columbus, which is a social enterprise pre-accelerator. And it's like a 48-hour hackathon where you pitch the idea and then you see if people are interested. And if they're interested, they can join your team and build the thing. And you do like a bunch of user research, build a prototype, and pitch your product in 48 hours. And we formed a team of all autistic and ADHD people, and we won first prize.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
So describe the product and what came out of that.
So that first hackathon, because it's, came a long time since then, we started thinking, we brought the early survey results and we started thinking that we would do like multi-step tasks because that seemed like the easiest lift. And then the first evening we all got together, we decided what we were going to do. We were all good. The next morning we get together and we're all working. We start the user research on staying on task. And as part of that survey, towards the end, there's like, is there anything else that you would rather, like, that's a bigger pain point? And at that moment, my dog went missing. My business partner's husband was taking my dog out, and they, like, even though he's met him 1,000 times, like, there was an accident. He ran off. He got trapped in somebody else's yard, so he didn't come back. So, like, my business partner and I, like, took off in the middle of the we just left because my baby. And I spent the next like 2 hours looking for my dog. Eventually, animal control did come and they found him and they brought him back and it was all okay. I didn't come back to the hackathon that night like Lorian did. I didn't. I was so freaked out. I was like, I just need to take a moment. I will be back tomorrow. While I was gone, they had done these surveys and they had found that decision fatigue and paralysis were actually a much higher, like they were neck and neck, but they edged out staying on task as a problem. So, and we were at that point, we were looking at autistic and ADHD adults. And so they pivoted to work on decision fatigue and paralysis while I was gone, which was brilliant. Like, I mean, Lorian, like we did it on Zoom and everything, but the level of ownership they took of this idea and like the ways they were like immediately really invested in really trying to make a difference for people like us. Like you can't pay people for that. You can't manufacture it. Like this was magic. And people walked by and they were like, I've never seen anything like this table, like the way that you guys are working together. Because we immediately sat down and we just started doing our own thing. We went around and I was like, okay, so I'm autistic and ADHD. And if I get really like tired, or forget to eat, then I might need someone to sit next to me to keep me like concentrated on something. Like, so we went around and kind of said what we needed, took off, worked like crazy. Yeah, I left the second day. I came back the third day and we had 2 prototypes. We had a prototype for the task decomposition and for the decision fatigue because we had magical, wonderful, a machine learning engineer and a front-end developer and a UX designer and a business developer and then myself and my business partner. And with both of whom have expertise in neurodivergence. So it was magic. Yeah. So we like finalized the slides and then I was so fried from the night before. The front-end developer was like a professional, gave lots of business talks.
Okay.
And I was so fried from my dog going missing that I was like, and he was like, I'm a professional presenter. Like, why don't I present this? And it was great because like when you get a bunch of autistic and ADHD people together, we don't have like the ego stuff is not nearly the same issue.
So true.
Because like, I didn't care. Like, I didn't want to present. I was fried. If I got up there, like we won first prize. And when we won first prize, like couldn't breathe, started coughing and like tears streaming down my face. Cause just like my body didn't react. Like my body stopped working basically the way it's supposed to. But yeah, so the fact that we had so many talented people coming together and being willing to work on this and working so hard and taking ownership was really great. So we won first prize that came with some money. And we also then had a UX developer in a UX designer and the machine learning engineer who stayed with who wanted to stay with the project. So the team stayed together and I started applying for grants and we got an opportunity to go to this venture capital firm's like customer learning lab and do like a 2-week in-depth dive and get a lot of research done. So April and I did that. April's our chief product officer. She was the UX designer. And then we got almost $400,000 from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities to conduct
Nice.
research, on how AI-powered supports could help people with brains like ours. And Wes, who's the machine learning engineer, Wes Giles, Wes, April, and I all went full-time. And we just pedal to the metal. So we developed the initial prototype that we won Give Back Hack with was just kind of an interface. Like there was no UX design. It was just like you could type in a question and it would leverage large language models to give you an
Okay.
answer. Or you could put in a task and it would break it down into steps.
Okay. So tell us.
And
So
yeah,
let's just for like the sake of just try to
yeah,
keep
yeah,
this a
yeah.
shorter episode because
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I know you're geeking out right now, like
I'm
the
totally geeking
backstory,
out. Yeah,
and I'm totally into it. I also want to take this a shorter episode, so we're gonna do that.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking about how we can use tech for different, for scaffolding different challenges. So what have you created and how are you using tech both with this app and with other tools? Let's talk about that. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's dive into the tool that your company created and how you're using AI tools for managing your life. Support for this show comes from ADHD reWired's coaching and accountability groups and our amazing alumni membership community. Since 2014, we've helped more than 1,200 ADHDers just like you. Whether you're stuck in, I know what I should be doing, but I just can't seem to get myself to do it, or you've discovered that you have ADHD and you want to learn how to actually work with your brain, you are not alone, and you are definitely not broken. Our summer coaching groups kick off July 24th, and they're built for folks just like us. No gimmicks, no magic pills, no productivity shaming, just real support, honest accountability, and a structure that meets your brain where it's at. Here's what you'll get: 3 weekly sessions for 8 weeks, along with peer support. You'll get daily check-ins for your top 3 priorities for the day, weekly accountability for your weekly goals, tools for battling time blindness, making your to-do list more ADHD friendly, and getting a grip on how to do some time blocking. Plus, the connection and community you didn't know that you were missing. There are only 2 chances to actually register, and they will be coming up sooner than you realize. Our kickoff registration event is on June 18th at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 Eastern, and you could save $200 off of registration when you register on that day. Our second chance registration is on June 26th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, for anyone who missed the first one. So if you're ready to turn all that ADHD insight into real-life action, head over now to coachingrewired.com to get started. And let's make this your summer of momentum. Let's do this together. This episode is also brought to you by ADHD reWired's virtual coworking and body doubling community, Adult Study Hall. Got work to do, but can't seem to start? Come work alongside other ADHD brains who get it. Cameras on, distractions off, and progress made. Whether you need a gentle nudge or a full-on focus mode, we've got a room for that. And if you're looking for a little something extra fabulous this month, join us for the Pomodoro Dance Party. We do this every 4th Friday of the month, where we trade focus sprints for dance breaks. And this month, we're going to go full-on Pride vibes. Expect queer anthems, rainbow energy, and a whole lot of dopamine-fueled joy. Because sometimes the best way to get things done is to shake it out in between 50-minute timers with a 10-minute dance party. And we're doing this next one on Friday, June 27th at 1 p.m. Central. That's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. Come for the structure, stay for the celebration, try it for free at adultstudyhall.com. It's only $19.99 a month, or save big with an annual membership for only $150 for the year. Adult Study Hall by ADHD reWired. Come work, write, create, clean, plan, and more with us. Again, start your 1-week free trial at adultstudyhall.com. That's adultstudyhall.com. If you are a long-time listener, you know that I've been hosting live Q&As every second Tuesday of the month for many, many years. We're going to have our next one on June 10th at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 Eastern. I have also made the decision, for now, to move this to a quarterly event. So after this one in June, the next one will be on September 9th. And if you have coaching questions or you want to support ADHD Rewired, become a patron. I host a small group coaching call once a month for patrons who give $25 a month or more. And you can become a patron today by going to patreon.com/ADHD Rewired. That's patreon.com/ADHD Rewired. All right, let's get back to the interview with Shannan, who's going to tell us about her company's tool and how she uses AI tools to get stuff done.
Awesome. We created Decide, and Decide has two different tools in one for supporting decision making. When we had over 400 touch points. We had almost 600 research touch points overall while making this, and over 400 were with autistic or ADHD adults. And we narrowed it down to two kinds of decisions that people like us really frequently struggle with, and we could really help with. One didn't require large language models or anything. It was just, I have this routine, something is or this daily choice, something has disrupted what I normally would do, and now I have to make a real-time choice.
Mm.
And I have to factor in like how much energy I have as I'm making that choice. So we built out like a random answer generator, but it's not random. It's random from a list. So you can create a custom list and you can rank each option by the amount of energy it takes you. And then you can go in and you can say, I need to know where to order DoorDash from my family. And I have medium energy. Like I could possibly like wrangle a Panera order, but I am not going to be able to do something where everyone chooses their own toppings. Like,
Okay.
right? So that's my real life example. I'm like, no BP bop. And then you just put in like medium energy, pick, and it picks from that list based on your criteria or your current energy levels. So that is, as a parent, that is amazing, because then I am not making the choice for the kids and I'm not picking anybody's side. The app did it. So we have like list of restaurants that they like and that everyone can agree are good. And then I can just be like, I have no energy here. And that can work for breakfast. That can work we use it a lot for food, but it can work for like stimming activities or like dopamine hits, or like I have one for sense of control. And I'm like, if I'm low energy, I can do a puzzle. If I'm high energy, I can like build a shelf.
Okay.
So that is one aspect. And that was the one that people were like, I just need a way to decide what to have for breakfast. Like it's the same three things, but which one? And if you don't want, I want to mix it up, but I don't know what to do if I mix it up. And then the other one is guided. And that's those should decisions. So like, should I take a nap? Should I adopt my foster dog? Should I, like, what should I do? And those are ones where really, like, you need to, like, the things that you would need to reflect on for that are pretty predictable for a large language model. So, like, what are the things that go into dog ownership? Well, can you feed the dog? Do you have time to take care of a dog? Like, these are things that you would be able to very easily associate, pull up, and ask relevant questions. And in the research, like when we talked to people, we came up with some different ways. Like we were like, maybe it should ask questions like, well, do you have the energy? No, it should not, because most of us get overwhelmed because that's another choice.
So does it kind of become like a real-time coach in a sense?
Yeah, it does. And it's reflecting back your thoughts. So it's basically like a series of affirmative statements. I am tired, or I have the energy and resources to take care of another dog, like, and you say yes, agree, disagree, or I'm not sure.
Okay.
And so that takes off that like deer in the headlights panic response. And then once you go through a series of questions. Then it says, you should do this with a percentage confidence. And then it explains why. Like you said, you do have the time and energy to take care of a dog. Like today, Decide told me not to adopt my foster dog. I'm ignoring it. But it made me think through like the questions that it asked. Like we actually have a new feature rolling out for more context. And so what I would have put into more context was maybe I don't need to take on a sixth animal right now. Financially, maybe that's not the smartest move, but over 1 million pit bulls are put down every year, like healthy animals, and 1 in 600 find a home. And so my additional context is I have this sweet, wonderful dog who everyone in my family loves, and it's not the best time financially, but this is his life. So we're just going to keep him. So that it gives us that it's just to guide your reflections.
Okay. So is this?
Yeah,
So I was looking at the app store. It's the Decide AI Decision Assistant. Is that the?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna download this in real time here.
Okay, do it.
Of course.
Do you have like a nose print that you have to?
No, I was trying to get the sound of like the jing when you like download the app, but now it's telling me I need to put in my password. I'm like, why?
Okay. That percent confidence is there to help people remember that outcome quality is different from decision quality. Your decision
Say more.
quality.
Yeah, say more about that.
That's your process for making an informed and reasonable decision, like a good choice. But outcome quality is decision quality plus hidden information plus luck. And there is no way anyone can accommodate hidden information and luck 100%. So you need to always know that the best you can do is make a good decision, and you can trust your decision quality. That's not the same as your outcome quality. That's Annie Duke has a really wonderful book, Thinking in Bets, where she talks about that.
I feel like there could be a whole episode just on this specific topic because that's wow. Okay.
Yeah, read the book.
So I'm on the home screen there. Okay. I logged in. It says, "Welcome to Decide, your personal decision assistant." By neurodivergent team for neurodivergent minds and all indecisive people. So maybe 15 years ago, I had my password to get onto my computer. And don't worry, this is no longer my password.
Okay, good.
I had to write, "I am a decisive person." Well, that was my password because I was not a decisive person. And I was like, this is a password I'm going to be entering over and over again throughout the day. And what was so cool about that, I still remember this moment where I was like on the fence about a decision. And because I've been using that phrase so often, wait, what does a decisive person do? They decide. And I just made a decision. And I was like, wait, it can't be that easy. Come on. But it was just a funny kind of like, oh, yeah, like decisions are hard. Okay, so he starts off with some 4 prompts with, should I go to college? Been there, done that. Should I go to this party? No, thanks. Should I text this person back? Probably. Should I take a nap? That sounds good. So it gives you some prompts, and then it has a 0 out of 10 this month. I'm not sure where that one is.
You're using the free version, so it's a premium.
Okay. We
didn't want people to pay the ADHD tax, so we didn't want to do free trials.
Nice.
So there's 10 free guided decisions per month. And if you want unlimited, you just upgrade to premium. It's $4.99 a month.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So, I've used ChatGPT for some similar types of things. I've also used goblin.tools to break down tasks. How is this different?
So one of the things, remember we keep talking about capacity. Like your use of any kind of generative AI is only going to be as good as your prompting. Like
especially in the beginning when you first start training
especially in the beginning.
Because I've learned like the more I use it, I'm like, sometimes I'll play this game of how little information can I actually give it to see if it can give me a good output. And I'm often just like floored by that.
Yeah.
But you got to train it with good prompting.
You got to train it.
Yeah.
You got to train it.
And good feedback. Yeah.
Well, and this is the thing about a dynamic disability. Like sometimes we can write, like I use AI all the time. I use Claude all the time to help me write grants. But when I don't have the capacity, I don't have capacity. Like I can't write a good prompt, even though I am a
I gotcha.
PhD trained researcher. Like if I am like not able to decide what's for dinner, I am not able to ask that question in a way that like if I'm sitting there paralyzed trying to figure out if I should take a nap or not,
It's probably a sign you should take a nap.
I'm like, I'm just going to sit here for a while and think about taking a nap until I no longer have time to take a nap. Like
So in a
it.
sense, it's like if you have a hard time sometimes generating like what you want to
Yes.
ask it. So it's like the difference between a sort of a word bank or multiple choice versus having to write the essay.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
other piece of that is we've built in safeguards. So it won't answer things that like it's a life coach it's a neurodivergent life coach. That's, like that's what you were saying. It does some coaching. Like it's meant to do no harm. It's meant to prioritize well-being. If you ask it if you should commit crimes, it will either throw an error code or it will say, I am a helpless and harmless AI assistant and I am not going to help. You should not commit crimes. It'll recommend you go talk to a person if a decision is like above its scope.
Okay.
And the goal, we had a meeting today actually on like the product roadmap. And so the first bit, like the feature that's about to roll out is adding more context. So for me, it would have been like about my dog. It would have been like, well, I'm afraid my dog will die if I don't adopt him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, maybe we eat some mac and cheese. And so that one is coming along with voice support probably within the next month.
That's great.
And then the next thing we're rolling out is the ability to personalize with goals. So that you'll be able
That's
to have,
good.
yeah.
So it
And
can always give that feedback based on bigger long-term goals.
personalization. Yeah. And here's the thing, we aren't feeding the LLM your data because that's a big deal for a lot of
Yeah.
people as privacy.
Yeah.
And we aren't claiming ownership of it.
Okay. That's important.
Ownership of data belongs to the user. Like we need to be able to use it enough to deliver the product. But one of our goals, and one of our overarching goals, like funding, like all the profits from ITI, it's like 85% of what would be profits goes back to ASR and social impact.
Nice.
So grants to disability-led organizations. And then the other piece of it is we want to have the largest pool of data on the autistic lifespan ever and the ADHD lifespan as well. It is not hard. There's not a lot out there. But if we can do that,
Interesting.
and it belongs to people, not to a company. If researchers want to access that data, they have to get through our company safeguards, but then they have to convince users and make it worth users' while
I
to
like
be able to opt in to that research project.
that.
So there have been all of these. There was a book that came out like a month ago, Selling Out the Spectrum, Liam O'Dell, fabulous. And he's a deaf autistic journalist. And it's like, how did science lose the trust of autistic people? And what can it do to gain that trust back? And so he goes really in depth into this long-term problem. But a lot of these studies, they want all of our data. They want us to participate, but they don't let us have control over how our data is used long-term.
Yeah.
And they don't so you might sign up for something because you believe in that project, but long-term you've given your data.
Yeah.
And now somebody else can come along and use it for whatever.
I'm curious, you mentioned that like for when you're writing grants, you use Claude. Is there something that you like about Claude over ChatGPT?
Claude was designed with more of a transparent kind of ethical framework
Okay.
in the initial training. So I do like that. Their business model, they've really tried not to be stealing like ChatGPT. Yeah. So I like that. I also just really like the answers, like the responses that I get. It's very clean, very easy to work with.
Okay.
The app itself uses Gemini, and it's like Gemini Flash 3. I don't know.
Okay. And
But
that's like Google's thing, right?
yeah, it's a Google one. And it's because Google has been really good about they're not training on our data. And Claude also doesn't train on your data. And there's some other like really good benefits. They give a really nice free tier for companies. So we don't you only have to pay for guided. Random is free, and random is free unlimited. guided, we can do 10 free decisions a month, but then after that, you do have to, if you want more, you have to upgrade to premium. We wanted to keep it as low as possible because, again, like 85% of us are underemployed. So we want to move money around in our community. We want autistic and ADHD adults who are able to work to be funding support for those who are not able to work yet, to increase their capacity, which will increase our economic base as a community, which will increase our ability to get shit done.
I think that's a great place to stop. Tell people once again how they can reach you, where they can learn about the app, where they can download the app, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. You can find me via either of my companies, so autisticselfreliance.org or itiassist.com. And you can download Decide if you go to itiassist.com/decide or the App Store or Google Play. And you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn, Shannan Palma, SHANNAN PALMA. Do message me and let me know that it's like you heard the podcast so that I know who you are. Because otherwise I'll be like, who is this person? I don't know them.
I get so many emails like that where like people like they've heard all of the podcasts and they'll like say something like I know what they're talking about. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that one conversation you had with, I'm like, who? Like, oh, because that conversation was 7 years ago. So I don't even remember that person's
Do
name.
not remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll link all of that into the show
Awesome.
notes and check out the app,
Awesome.
experiment with it, and just say an ADHD friendly sort of strategy so you don't pay the ADHD tax. If you do want to try premium, cancel it as soon as you download it. So when that comes to that next month's billing cycle, like it won't automatically charge it, but put in your calendar, like a day before that happens, a question to
Yes.
yourself. Say, am I using this app? If yes, it's going to cancel tomorrow if I don't do anything. So we sign up or whatever, right? So it's a great way to sort of like the opt out kind of method of like of membership stuff. Because it's, I mean, every couple of months I'll always check my membership stuff and it's like, oh, wait, I didn't do that for this thing. And so, let's not pay the ADHD tax.
I'm going to actually do that for myself because I'm pretty sure I have a Paramount Plus subscription that I've never used.
I think that me too. Because there's maybe one show I wanted to see and then it was
like a year ago. And
yes. So Shannan, thank you so much. This was very fun. And I hope this was helpful for listeners. So thank you.
Thank you. This was very fun.
No, I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to need an app, but I'll check the app to see if that's what I should do right now.
That's a good choice.
Thanks, Shannan. Y'all, I just want to say I think that this episode really hit on something big. It's not just about tech or decision making. It's about creating tools by us and for us, for neurodivergent brains, for queer folks, for all of us trying to make it through the noise of the world while still showing up as who we really are. Because thriving shouldn't require masking. And it definitely shouldn't require going it alone. If you felt something in this conversation, if you saw yourself in Shannan's story or thought, wow, that would really help me, then let this be your reminder you deserve support that actually gets you. Summer coaching groups at ADHD reWired start July 24th. These groups are designed for brains like ours, with the structure, community, and accountability that can turn insight into action. Don't miss the registration kickoff event where you can save $200 on June 26th. So come find your people. Come find yourself. Go to coachingrewired.com to get started. And hey, whether you're navigating ADHD, autism, ADHD, queerness, or all of the above, your existence is not up for debate. You belong, you are worthy of support, and the world is better with you in it. Until next time, be kind to yourself, and if you're stuck, maybe check out the app.